Personality, mental state, intelligence, and upbringing dictate what we play and how we play it. Or so we're led to believe. But is there actually any merit to that? In this video, we will explore exactly this. So with that being said, let's investigate. To investigate this topic, we will be answering the following questions, the appendices of which I researched the answers from will be in the description. Those questions are there any links to gaming performances and an individual's mental state? Do our personality traits influence what you play and how you play it? What keeps us hooked and if it's healthy, along with the implications of the current gamer generation becoming the next gen's parents. I'll even sprinkle in some opinions too, but we'll keep this primarily factual. The amount of time we spend gaming on average is on the rise. According to Statista, the global average is 8.45 hours, which is up from 5.1 hours in 2011. Peasant numbers, even from the Chinese. Or is it? Well, actually, if you take into consideration an adult typically spends 8 hours a day sleeping, 8 hours working, and 8 hours on the hub. Spare time, essentially. In reality, 8 hours is a high number for gaming. That's a full day's worth of spare time, essentially. We all know that mental health is important, well, except some boomers, but does it actually impact your gaming performance? Yes. Quite substantially, in fact. Dr. Rubenstein, sports psychologist of Misfits League of Legends team, says, pro players are relying on their brains to perform and be on for very precise movements. This is a lot of pressure and can create anxiety which impacts focus. So in order to access all of their skills and logical reasoning, emotions must be managed in-game and out of the game. If not, emotions can overcome logical reasoning, which can lead to tilting. Most major psychological disorders like anxiety or depression impact focus and concentration and general functioning, so if not treated correctly, will impact performance. These disorders are treatable but are often neglected due to lack of awareness of the signs and treatment criteria. Obviously, this is an example of how important a player's well-being is to their performance. Being in a bad state of mind affects your ability to perform under pressure. That goes for anyone, casual or professional. The evidence here is as shocking as logging into Warzone and finding campers and or hackers in your first couple of games. It does go to show that in order to be in our gaming prime, at the height of our powers, ready to leave death and destruction in our wake, we need to be in our mental prime, as the evidence clearly suggests. If our minds are weak, so are our players. This left me with two additional questions, which of course I'm going to answer. First one, is sports psychology actually relevant to gaming? If so, what did they offer? Well, their purpose is to help with, and I quote, enhance performances, various mental strategies such as visualization, self-talk and relaxation techniques can help athletes overcome obstacles and achieve their full potential. Cope with the pressures of competition. Sports psychologists can help athletes at all levels deal with pressure from parents, coaches, or even their own expectations. That last one is my demon, dealing with my own expectations. These are all things that esports athletes and us mere mortals could use to take our game performances to the next level. But it's one thing having the skill, the other thing you need is a metric ton of motivation, which is another massive role of the sports psychologist. They do this via the study of extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. Extrinsic motivators are external rewards, such as trophies, money, medals, or social recognition. Intrinsic motivators are arisen from within, such as a personal desire to win, or the sense of pride that comes with performing a skill. With that being said, sports psychology is massively important in the esports scene, and there is a clear, obvious correlation between well-being and performance. You could make the argument that sports psychologists can make a bigger difference for esports athletes than their physical counterparts, but this is just an opinion. One thing I would say though is that a sports psychologist will get more out of a professional than a mere mortal. However, a conventional therapist would be more than adequate for improving the gaming performance for the rest of us playing and living outside of professional competition. So there you go. Don't get good, get therapy. My second question regarding this topic was, if we need good health of mind to play well, can we play to improve our mental health? Now this one is a lot harder to answer. You can find any opinion you want to find regarding this in an article and use it to back up what you're saying to suit your agenda. A bit like the PlayStation versus Xbox debate, but that's irrelevant to me. But let's research and find something based on numbers. Now with that being said, these next few quotes are based on experiments and surveys asking gamers directly, links to which are in the appendices. Quote, using video games to distract oneself from stress was clearly connected to high level of psychological symptoms. Distraction-motivated gamers preferred coping strategies such as self-blame, behavioral disengagement, self-distraction, denial, substance use, venting, and acceptance, but they neglected active coping and planning. They showed less general positive effect and more negative effect both in general and while playing, as well as more positive effect while playing. These gamers further reported low self-esteem and low life satisfaction, loneliness, a preference for solitude, shyness, a lack of self-efficacy and social support, and poor achievement in school. But wait, there's more. In the opposite tone from the same source, based on the reports taken from the research for the article, quote, gamers who played video games to improve their real-life abilities also reported more online connections. In addition, these gamers showed higher levels of general positive effect. The strongest association with online friends and acquaintances emerged, as expected, for gamers who played because of social relations in the virtual world. Although all reasons for playing video games were related to positive effect while playing, the strongest associations emerged for gamers who played because of the social relations, to stimulate their imagination and for curiosity. It is interesting that for gamers who played video games because of the storyline and for relaxation, there was a relation only to positive but not to negative effect while playing. That's a bit of a mindfuck. Closest thing to a some of you are getting this week. Speaking of which, that's good for your mental health too, so don't get good, get laid. But let me digest all that for you. This is all based on data and not opinion, and I appreciate this article telling the tale of both sides of this argument. So basically, if you're playing games to escape reality, it's only going to make you worse, deepen your depression. You're not going to enjoy the game as much, and it's going to dig you down a deeper hole. Though there are benefits, the negatives outweigh them heavily. On the flip side though, gaming can have a great effect on mental health if you're using it to improve your real life abilities. By doing so, you're more likely to make social connections in games, and the more connections formed and abilities gained, like problem solving, the more people gained mentally from playing games, which improves well-being and therefore, as we know now, performance. So to answer my question, should gaming time be increased or decreased to improve mental health? The answer to that depends on the person. To be fair, this makes sense now you think of it, and now we've done the research. We all know someone who could do with putting fewer hours into games and living in the real world a bit more. And we all know someone who could do with playing more often and winding down a bit and chilling with friends and, slaying some fools. No matter what corner of the world you are from, we all know people like this in our lives. The mad bit is that this is typical of therapy. Some things are great for patients and the same things could be horrendous for other patients. That blows my mind, and we're only just getting started. But before we continue, and I'll make this quick, don't get good, get subscribed. We live in a world where there is an abundance of vibrant people and personalities, some outgoing and confident, some introverted with a wicked sense of humour. Who we are, how we play, and what we play are all intertwined. A fun quote from the last source states that people who play first-person shooters as their main genre of video games tend to be less intelligent than those who play other types of games. However, are more sociable and have better communication skills, which, let's be honest, in the real world is massively important for keeping and maintaining healthy levels of mental health and well-being. Everything from your sex and how you're raised influence what you play. Males, for example, tend to seek achievement and feelings of progression, whereas females tend to prefer simulation and immersion. What I want to talk about here is our psychological disposition and how it relates to how and what we play. Are we playing something or a character in something to reflect our own character, or the character of which we want to become? Simon Parkin of Nautilus Psychologist reports, our disposition can be reflected in our choice of character. In online role-playing games, for example, players who assume the role of medics, keeping the rest of the team alive, will tend to play the same role across games. While some players experiment by, for example, playing an evil character just to see what it's like, was found that such experiments usually lead to affirmation rather than transformation. So basically that means if you're a jerk in real life, you're going to be a jerk in any kind of social setting, including games. And if you're not a jerk, then you're not. Video games are at their most alluring, in other words, when they allow a person to close the distance between how they are and how they wish to be. I find this very interesting because it suggests that we play our own personality archetype. This actually explains a lot within myself, to be completely honest. So, using myself as an example to prove this point, I always find myself in games playing a support. Not necessarily a healer as such, but playing a role where offering and utilising utility plays a role in the greater success of the team. I never realised that's my preferred role until doing this research. So, for example, in COD, I enjoy using snapshot nades, restock, opting for a munitions box and armor box instead of a dead silence, and using weaponry that offers something at every range rather than being a specialist at just one. I've found that when I play for high kill games, I have the ability to rack up 10 plus kills easily, but don't get as many wins, whereas when I play my more natural role as a support, my kill rate decreases, however the squad's team fight winning rate increases a lot, and we actually win more games, where my teammates get the lion's share of the kills, but I offer high damage numbers for sustained damage, giving team cover or popping shots at range, forcing people to play up and use resources, even if it doesn't lead to a team fight. The amount of kills the team gets, no matter what role I play, is the same on average, but the amount of wins we get off the back of that increases if I play my support role. Keeping enemies low armor, having an answer for vehicles, popping utility nades and snapshots and smokes. So how does this affect how I play other games? Overwatch, I'll main Orisa, technically a tank, whoever has a kit that allows it to be used as a heavy support, popping shields, blocking pushbacks, pulling enemies into a kill range of teammates, and safely engaging and challenging the front line of the conflict. League of Legends, I'll play a support role, using a Vel'Koz, Sona, Nani or Morgana to either whittle the opponent's health safely from different angles and range, while having a knock-up and ranged ult with Vel'Koz to the utility Sona offers a team. I always play the same role, which as I write this, I realise is a dangerous support, being someone who can look after himself on his own, but is strongest in a team environment where others can benefit from my situational awareness and support traits, be that via communication and or ability/kits. While we're here actually, if you guys play games and listen to this, know your own role in a game, what is it? I'd love to know. Next, we are going to discuss what keeps us hooked to our games and if it's healthy or not. So the first thing you need to understand is flow. Flow, to put it simply, well, actually, here's a graph. Flow is the state your mind is in when your level of skill matches the level of skill required to play the game. This is when you're fully immersed. Quote, a theory which states that human behavior is driven by the need for competence, autonomy, and relatedness. If those needs are met, we enjoy activities more, even in gaming. Competence is fulfilled in games through flow, which is completely focused mental state, and is used to explain the enjoyment of games. Flow is met in games when a game challenges the player enough so that it's still interesting and makes the gamer want to continue to play, but not too hard where it's not fun anymore or too easy where it becomes boring. Autonomy is met because we have control in games and we voluntarily play games. Lastly, relatedness is fulfilled because we are able to interact and compete with others in a way and world that's different from real life. It is worth mentioning that flow isn't for a type or genre of game, but rather any activity we do as a hobby. Flow is super important to game designers though, as keeping people on a game for longer does typically result in that game making money. This is literally the point in having skill-based matchmaking in games. The theory is opponents too good make the game unrewarding and frustrating to play, whereas opponents you're superior to is going to result in a boring game. FYI, I'm actually against skill-based matchmaking, though I understand the theory and understand the need for it, I don't personally agree with how developers implement it. Flow keeps us hooked, but is gaming healthy? On the most part, yes. However, like anything in life, too much is detrimental to mental health. Those with gaming addictions are likely to also have gambling addiction. Is that linked to flow? No, it's down to the fact that anxiety and depression has a link to addiction. Having an addiction in gaming, like an actual life-harming addiction, makes you weak to resisting other addictions like gambling, junk food, and drink. Quote, a medium-sized positive relation to the potentially problematic use of video games emerged for the presence of psychological symptoms including depression, anxiety, and hostility. Furthermore, several coping strategies were differentially associated with the potential problematic use of video games. Self-blame and behavioral disengagement showed the strongest positive relations to potentially problematic video game use, further showing that gaming doesn't cause these issues, but more so those who spend problematic amounts of time in games will also have other psychological dispositions. Though if you do have one of these dispositions, gaming will play a role in reinforcing it. Quote, pathological gaming habits can also be signs of other issues, like anxiety or depression, according to Dr. Ferguson. Dr. Gentle's studies, for instance, found that gaming behaviours that have reached the level of addiction are not just symptoms of depression and anxiety, but are also reinforcers of them. Dr. Stockdale said that her research has shown that depressed patients who have pathological gaming symptoms are likely to feel less competent as parents and more stressed. Gaming does have positive effects, however, and it is worth stressing that time gaming is typically time you're escaping from your demons, or embracing them if that's what you're into, and stimulating your brain in ways other things just simply can't. There are 3 motivational factors in gaming which makes us pick up that controller and or spin up that PC. These factors are positive for the well-being of the gamer. Nick Yee, a scientist who made one of the first steps in building a framework for studying motivators, found 3 motivation components. There is an achievement component, which includes the want to advance in the game, the interest in the rules and the system of the game, and the want to compete with others. Next is the social component, which is the want to form connections with others, linking to chat and help other players, and the want to be part of a group effort. Last, there is the immersion component, which is creating and customizing a character to play in the unique story of the game, as well as wanting to escape from real life. This just goes to illustrate why we play and how we play it. It's important to understand these factors because when you identify what it is you're playing a game for and what your needs are from the game, it's actually a lot easier to get that out of a game. If you're looking for the thrill of competition, are you getting that? Are you playing for entertainment or to win? Some games like Warzone, that choice is down to you. Most Warzone players will agree, with the odd exception, is that you can either play Warzone to win and not have much fun, or you can have lots of fun and not win. Trust me, when you know what you're looking for from a game, you can set them goals and get the most out of your gaming session. Another question and misconception about gaming is if it's a social activity or an activity to encourage isolation. Before we get into that though, please share this video, even if it's just to one person. This video is taking 3 weeks to make, so I'd love you forever. Now, is gaming good for socializing, or does it draw us away from that, leading to loneliness? There are extremes to both sides of this. However, we have just lived through one of the biggest periods of isolation seen in generations. What was there for people the entire time? Gaming. You're damn right. This channel, and thus the A1A, was born out of it, connecting people in different parts of the community together. I've met people through gaming, I've reconnected with people through gaming, Ginger Fox and Rue are prime examples of that. I'm not the only one who thinks this. A recent Microsoft study within the Xbox Research Accessibility Community Feedback Program, a group made up of players with disabilities looked at gaming and mental health during the pandemic. The study found that 84% of respondents agreed gaming had positively affected their mental health over the past year, while 71% said gaming helped them feel less isolated. That's from Deborah Back, Microsoft. So after this, it's clear to see that gaming is a massive contributor to maintaining mental health, especially when lonely. People in the A1A have told me specifically it's helped them more than they could ever put into words. It's safe to say on this topic there isn't much that goes down to interpretation. Gaming is great for improving your social circles virtually. Gaming connects people in ways that some in the older generation just can't fathom. Gaming doesn't cost money every time you want to play, unlike going out for social activities. Once the game is purchased, you don't need to pay for it again, typically, unless it's FIFA Ultimate Team. But gaming allows people to meet others from other countries and communities, making people in social circles more diverse than those found in woke TV series and films, making people more accepting of each other long term. Unless you get killed, of course. People can find common ground in gaming, like I did with bullies at school when we discovered the other is actually alright. We found that common ground, a common interest, a common goal. Didn't expect this section to be so cut and dry, actually. Parenting, however, is not cut and dry. Parents of gamers and gamers becoming parents is a very interesting point of conversation. Gaming, being accessible to all, has only really been a thing for the past 2 generations. Those who grew up with parents who don't understand gaming that much are becoming parents themselves. And just like most of the things in this debate, there are many pros and many cons, and you can be damn sure we're going to investigate all that right now. Parenting is crucial to any child's development. Their journey to becoming an adult is in the hands of their parents. A neglectful parent will often rear a hurt child with a psychological disposition, and a parent who spends more time on games than, well, parenting is going to lead to neglect. I don't mean licking beans out of a tin for nutrition neglect, but more so emotional neglect via lack of attention. That, of course, has a magnitude of different negative connotations for the kids involved. Based on his research, Dr. Gentle said that video games still play a part in furthering depression and anxiety. He speculated that the next generation of children gamers, and eventually parent gamers, may have very little emotional maturity because video games have taught them difficult emotions can be addressed or controlled by an outside source, the video game, and not internally their emotions. The gamer is changing their external stimulation to get away from that emotion, he said. Now that's deep. That implies that people who live in games are likely to be socially retarded due to the habits they learn from their parents' relationships to gaming. Dr. Ferguson, after reviewing research, says one session of playing video games, the length of which can vary, can release similar amounts of the feel-good brain chemical dopamine as eating a bowl of ice cream. It's the #1 benefit, said Dr. Ferguson. Games are stress-reducing and children are not. That's one way to put it, Doc. Jesus. Just for the record, I don't have any kids. I have a myriad of daddy issues myself, but kids are something I don't yet have. Now, of course, this is just one extreme of the argument. Here at the A1A, we like to balance, and to counterbalance this, we also have many sources that suggest gaming can actually massively enhance a parent's relationship to their child, or children. Including children into the gaming schedule is a brilliant way to bond and engage with your child. Overcoming challenges and solving problems together is excellent for a child's emotional and educational development, improving skills in problem solving, cognitive function, hand-eye coordination, and of course, developing a relationship with their parents in an engaging manner. A user on Metro said in regards to his relationship to gaming and his daughter, "As my gaming time has reduced for myself, it is beginning to increase with my daughter. Sunday is the day I get up with her so mum can rest, and our mornings are being taken up by the occasional Mario, Nintendo Land, and Rayman Legends. She absolutely adores Luigi, Mario Chase, sword fighting on Zelda, and the football game on Rayman. If anything, the little time I have for gaming for myself now has made me realise how precious gaming is in my life and how much more fun it can be with my daughter. Hopefully the time lost now will increase as my daughter gets older, and it is a hobby we can share. And I plead with anyone that does have children and face the difficulties I have, is you will get that spark back, but best of all, you get to see it through the eyes of the child again." End quote. Again, like the start of the video, this one is down to the individual. Gamers and their games have the tools to neglect their responsibility and escape reality, but the same tools can also be used to really enhance and develop their relationships with their spawn. It's down to the person. Kids will game, kids will play. How and why they do it is in the hands of the parents. Will it be to escape a reality of neglect, or will it be to engage with their parents and use for positive relationships? The link between one's mental health and the consistency of how often one is playing at their best is obvious. People simply play better when they are in a healthier state of mind. Outside of professional play, the average user's mental health can be heavily affected by gaming, both positively and negatively. Gaming doesn't cure anyone's problems, often making them worse and reinforcing any depression or anxieties. It can, though, take the edge off people's problems if done in moderation, and can get people engaging with friends and stimulating their minds in a healthy and challenging way. The loop is playing excessively will weaken your mental fortitude, making you perform in games weaker, thus weakening self-esteem and therefore mental health. That goes round and round and round until eventually you're a mess, riddled with anxiety and no idea what went wrong. The key, like all things, is moderation. Stopping playing when on tilt, doing things that aren't gaming regularly so that when we do get ourselves in game, our performances and thus the benefit we can get from gaming are at their highest. I like to think of it like water. It keeps us clean, keeps us hydrated and healthy, but too much and you can easily drown. Gaming is mental. The power gaming has in the mind lies within the individual. How we are raised, who we are, our social standing and personalities all play a part in what we play and how we play it. Gaming for our mental health is a tool. With it, people have the ability to enhance their lives, their relationships, and help bridge the gap between who they are and who they want to be. That same tool can disrupt lives and disengage someone from reality, reinforcing depression, anxiety, and even addictions. In summary, player discretion is advised.